1806, Sergeant Nathaniel Pryor went upstream to scout it. He reported the bed was formed entirely of quicksand and that a pole could be driven 6 to 8 feet into the riverbed with no solid bottom. Here is what Lewis and Clark did not know. The old-made eruption of Mount Hood had ended roughly 10 to 20 years before they arrived. Tree ring dating puts it between 1781 and 1793. The expedition was standing in the freshest lahar deposit in North American history. The quicksand was not sand. It was fluidized volcanic ash and pulverized dacite, still flushing down the valley 2 decades after the eruption that made it. When Lewis and Clark named the Sandy River quicksand, they were not describing a river, they were describing a crime scene. And the killer is still on the mountain, which is why what happened on June 5th, 2021 got the attention of every volcanologist in the Pacific Northwest. That morning, a magnitude 3.9 earthquake struck 2.5 miles south of Mount Hood's summit at a depth of 2.7 miles. It came with foreshocks, and it came with an aftershock sequence. It followed a swarm of over 100 quakes in January 2021 and a 45-minute swarm in March. Dr. Wes Thelen, geophysicist at the USGS Cascades Volcano Observatory, analyzed it. He said the swarm has all the characteristics of a tectonic swarm, and that they were able to say with confidence that there was no inflation associated with this swarm. Tectonic, not magmatic, no ground deformation, good news. But catch what he also said, they could say that only because 9 months earlier, USGS crews had installed 3 new monitoring stations on the mountain, seismic, GPS, gas, 9 months. That was the margin between knowing and guessing on Mount Hood. Dr. Alison Colasar at Oregon State University explained to Oregon Public Broadcasting what the next eruption will probably look like. Most of the eruptions at Hood over the past 30,000 years have occurred in about the same way. Lava oozes up, forming a big lava dome, a blister of lava near the top of the volcano. A blister at 9,800 feet, sitting directly above 12 loaded glaciers, directly above the headwaters of the Sandy and the Zigzag rivers, and directly above Timberline Lodge. This is where it gets personal. Timberline Lodge sits at 5,960 feet on the south flank of Mount Hood. It was built between 1936 and 1938 by Works Progress Administration craftsmen during the Great Depression. On September 28, 1937, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt stood on its terrace and dedicated it. It is a National Historic Landmark. $350 a night for a room. The lobby window looks straight up at Crater Rock, less than 3 miles away, still fuming at 89 degrees Celsius. The USGS has mapped what is beneath the lodge's foundation. Much of the broad fan of pyroclastic flow and lahar deposits underlies Timberline Lodge and Government Camp. Tourists pay $350 a night to sleep on a tombstone. Beneath the WPA-era timber floors, beneath the hand-carved pioneer motifs, beneath the stone hearth laid in 1937, beneath the old-growth beams, is compacted volcanic debris from the last time this mountain did what it does. A guest sits by the fire, drinks a glass of Oregon Pinot, looks up through the lobby window at a steaming dacite dome less than 3 miles away, and has no idea the whole lodge is parked on the last eruption's receipt. Now widen the lens. The Sandy River Corridor Exposure Zone is not 5,000 people. That is the strict 500-year hazard zone from Oregon's Department of Geology Bulletin O 1116. The true downstream totality, the full Sandy, Zigzag, and Lower Columbia corridor, counting Troutdale and Eastern Gresham and the Interstate 84 interchange and the Bull Run pipeline dependence, approaches 200,000 Oregonians. Portland's primary drinking water comes from the Bull Run watershed. 1 million people drink from it. The watershed itself is geographically protected by a ridge, but the pipelines that carry that water to Portland cross the Sandy River corridor. A lahar that severs those pipelines cuts drinking water to all of them the same afternoon. Interstate 84 runs along the south bank of the Columbia. The Union Pacific Main Line runs beside it.